Okay. Well, with that, I guess I'd like to read just a couple points from this letter. I know it's part of the public record. It is strong, but I agree with it. It says that essentially, the City of Belmont believes the business plan for the current California high-speed rail project is flawed and grossly optimistic in terms of costs, financing, and revenues. We believe the current business plan is not in line with either the data presented to the voters or the requirements of Proposition 1A. We therefore express opposition to the high-speed rail project, both from a local and statewide perspective. That's the gist. And it's backed up with approximately 12 or 13 specifics. So how would we like to proceed?
We could comment or discuss.
Comment away.
Yeah, okay. I obviously agree with the gist of this letter as well. I think it's time to take a strong stand on this issue. As we say in here, we have limited funds. We just had the discussion about the RDA, which is a separate discussion, separate set of funds, but it's clear that California is not rolling in dough right now, and we get a certain amount of money for HSR from the federal government, but when you look at the plans, a lot of the burden for what the plan, if the plan plays itself out, will come to the cities. And we really need to concentrate and push our legislators to concentrate on supporting local transportation and local schools and local efforts rather than a statewide system that, again, is vastly overblown. I think it's over 3 times now the original estimate, and that's not 3 times 100,000. It's in the billions of dollars. So it's way overpriced. It's not going to. I just don't think it's going to happen anytime soon either. And I think we need to move on and focus on local transportation. Again, I think the time has come that Belmont has to again reinforce our stand that this is not going to work for us, and it's not going to benefit our city or the state of California, and we have to take this stand, I believe.
Okay. Any other comments?
Sure. I appreciate that some of the concepts that I was interested in came to fruition. I had mentioned that there were some things that I was concerned about the high-speed rail project in general, from the cost increases, the communication piece between the cities and the authority, the connectivity between the high-speed rail and other modes of transportation, public transportation. I don't know if that was necessarily in here. I can't remember. I did read it. But one of the things that I didn't see, and I thought I was going to see, had to do with not just fact-checking, but letting us being able to see those facts. And so I didn't see those. Did I misinterpret something?
No, and I think, just to answer your question, what I did, which I don't think is here, but anything that I thought that I didn't know for sure was true, I highlighted in green on letter, that in addition to these edits. So there were about 12 or 13 different sentences that were highlighted.
Correct.
And I had asked Carlos to check those, and I guess between you and Kristen, you'd found references to that. Now, I guess maybe I wasn't clear, but I sort of would hope that we'd have footnotes that would annotate, for example, when there's a statement in here about more people are teleconferencing as opposed to business traveling, right, or that the SFO has a lot more flights that are closed due to weather, fog, than because of increased airline traffic. And there were references for those. I actually saw them. But I just sort of hoped that they would find their way as footnotes into the document so that it didn't look like we were just, coming up with.
We can create footnotes for those 13 various sections, right, that needed some and we could email that out to the council if the council.
And I think is that what you were talking about? That
was a major concern for me. Is I understood there would be footnotes to be able to substantiate what we were talking about. In addition, there are members who like the strong tone. That's not obviously my style. That's not something that I feel comfortable doing. Although I understand and agree with many of the things that are in here, the tone isn't something that I'm supportive of, to be perfectly honest. It's a style difference. And so there's a couple of statements here, and I don't want to wordsmith tonight, but there's a couple of references that I'm not comfortable with. And so while I agree with many of the things, not the way that it's presented. And so I know that there cannot be a perfect letter that everyone agrees with. I would have to say that for me, the way it's presented, I couldn't support.
Okay. I tried to obviously balance firmness with, I tried to not put any hyperbole or not put anything in there sentence by sentence that I thought couldn't be defended. And so it's obviously subjective. So.
I guess I'll offer just a couple of additional things. And I can certainly appreciate the difficulty it takes to write a letter by a committee. So I think, as the mayor said, it's not perfect, but at least it's a good effort. I would have liked to see more of the issues in the letter related to Belmont specifically. I know there are a number of issues related to Central California cities, and I think that's all good. But for me, the part of the letter that's the weakest, and I don't know if this can be addressed in the next day or two, is just simply there's not as much here in terms of the reasons why we're concerned. There's just not as much here that's focused on Belmont as I would like to see. That's probably my major concern. To Councilmember Braunstein's comment about the style and the tone, I'm in agreement there with his comments. One thing that I would like to suggest, again, if the council is interested, and since you said we have the time, there are a number of places where there are words that are all capitalized. For example, at the bottom of page 2, right, profits. Well, in contrast, the draft now claims profit will not go to repaying, and the word not is in all capital letters. There's another one where the word daily, right now, and now is capitalized. Just stylistically, I always, when I see those kinds of letters coming across my desk, they actually take away from the level of importance that I give to them. So if the council is interested, I think I could, even though there are many things I may not agree with in the letter, I could certainly support it if those kinds of words were just put in, regular type. I mean, I would rather see it that way. And I think that there is value, if we're going to send a letter, there is value in having either a unanimous council behind it or something like that, so that there's value there. So that's why I'm willing to support that with some of those changes.
Yeah, I don't personally have and again, I wouldn't go back and forth if this wasn't the fact that I've got to put my name on this thing, but I don't care that much about the caps. I could take them or leave them. I took a lot of them out. I left some of them in. There was bold. I took some bold out, and, this is also, one thing is this is the business plan, so we're really looking at the financial model. And there's not quite as much that affects us locally from the business plan perspective as much as the actual high-speed rail track alignment and design. So we're not really commenting on the tracks and the trains and that. We're really commenting on the financing and the cost and bonds and all that. So I mean, I agree with you, but again, we're just addressing the business plan. So it's a little more global in terms of the nature of the discussion. Personally, I don't care if you want to take out the caps. I'm fine with that. I don't have a strong opinion. Like I said, I took probably half of them out. I'm happy to take the other half of them out. So
that's great.
Unless somebody has a strong opinion one way or the other.
Well, what I think is I'm willing to take the caps out. What we have to really decide on, I mean, we can talk about caps, we can talk about this and that, but what we need to do is look at the gist of the letter, which is, behind all of the wordsmithing and making the language, tweaking it to be stronger or weaker or whatever, it is a strong statement, and I think that's what we need to vote on. And so I'm good with making those minor changes as long as they don't, making a typographical change is not going to change the, what we're actually saying to the state.
I'm perfectly happy to make capital NOT be lowercase NOT. That's fine. I think that it will read just fine. So, I mean, I would be willing, if you would like to make that as a motion, I would second it as a friendly amendment.
When we get to that point.
Oh, well,
Right.
I think we're almost there.
Yeah, okay.
Corlene, did you have any comments?
No, it does tend to scream a bit, which bothers me, but,
Okay.
I'll just send it out. I mean, I think we just need to get it off. It's just, it is a bit of a screamer.
We can de-scream it.
No, I mean, just, it's,
That's fine. I have
agree.
no problem
It
at all.
bothers me, but other than just
Obviously,
send it
just
out.
leave the, the abbreviations as caps and take all the normal words and tone them down. Okay, so Warren, I think you made the motion. I'll second it with that stipulation. All those in favor?
4,
Those opposed?
1, Councilmember Bronstein.
Yep, thank you very much.
And we'll also add the footnotes to the letter as well.
And, yes, please.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.